One of the foods for which I am oddly famous for here in the trailer park is my barbecue sauce. And I say oddly because I don't do barbecues. I don't have a barbecue. I've never been all that interested in doing barbecues. I like barbecue. I'll eat barbecue. But how it usually works out is someone will call me and say, hey, I just bought a big rack of ribs. I'm going to barbecue some ribs. Bring some of your barbecue sauce and stay for dinner. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm intrigued by them, barbecue sauces, and they do make some foods taste really good. I found this one that really intrigued me because it's made with cocoa powder, among other things. And I thought, I gotta try this. I gotta try this. I'm not gonna use it on ribs. I'm actually gonna make the barbecue sauce this evening, and I'm gonna grill some chicken on a stovetop griddle, and try the sauce on that tomorrow. But I want to make this barbecue sauce tonight. It's called chocolate chili barbecue sauce, and I got to give you the source because the source is kind of confusing. I found it in a restaurant trade journal. It's a magazine that only goes out to restaurants, and they quoted the source as Meathead, the Science of Great Barbecue and Grilling. I did some research. That's a real book. It's available on Amazon.com. I want to say it was about $27 to $30, something like that. So there is a real source for this, but I've made a few variations in the recipe, which you'll see. I'll explain as we go along. So let's make this barbecue sauce. It really is very easy to make. You assemble everything in a pan and then cook it. Okay, so my first substitution, honey. The recipe called for 3/4 cup, which is about 150 grams of sugar. I like using honey in barbecue sauce. I think it gives it a little bit of a better flavor and it gives it some sticking power. So I think it'll stick better to food. So what I'm using here is 3/4 cup of honey. This is regular clover honey. If you measure your honey by weight, this came to 8 ounces, which is about 227 grams. All right, so there's the honey. And then I have here 1/2 cup, which is about 120 milliliters of water. If you use sugar instead of honey, combine the sugar and the water in your pan, put it on the heat, and start stirring it over the heat until all the sugar has dissolved. I'm not going to put it on the heat yet because I don't have to. I don't need to dissolve my honey, obviously enough. Then what I have here is 3/4 cup, which is 175 milliliters roughly, of rice vinegar. This happens to be seasoned rice vinegar. I'm hoping that will be okay. And then I have here 1/2 cup by volume, or 125 grams by weight of tomato paste. It's almost one of those 8-ounce cans of tomato paste. I would say toss in the whole can. What does it matter? Okay, another substitution. It called for 1/4 cup, which is about 60 milliliters of orange juice. I don't have orange juice, so I bought some orange juice concentrate. This is 1 tablespoon, and it's actually equivalent because looking at the can, it's a 3-to-1, 3 parts water, 1 part concentrate to make the orange juice. So 1 tablespoon is just right for 1/4 cup of orange juice. Then 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. That's the strange ingredients that has me wondering. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I know each one of these dropper squeezer things is a 1/4 teaspoon, so 2 of those equals 1/2 teaspoon. That's pure vanilla extract. 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and then 1/8 teaspoon, which struck me as being very little, 1/8 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder. That's not very much. Chipotle chili powder is a smoked, dried jalapeno peppers ground up. If you want a really good spicy sauce, I would say add up to 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder for a more potent sauce. 1/8 of a teaspoon just doesn't seem like it's an awful lot for the amount of volume in there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a stove, stir this while I'm heating it, bring it up to a boil. So I've brought this to the stove. I have medium-high heat going under this. I'm going to stir this while this is warming up. That tomato paste will eventually all blend in. I can get a whisk if I have to blend that in, but I think I can stir this all in. This is going to have to cook for quite a while anyways. This is just now starting to come to the boil there, so I'm going to reduce the heat to low. I'm going to simmer this, stirring often, for 30 minutes. My timer just went off. I'm going to turn my heat off under this. I stirred this every 5 minutes or so. And here's a trick for you. If you're afraid of things burning, take one grate, stack it on top of the other, and that'll raise your pan a little bit higher above the heat. I was afraid of that tomato sticking to the bottom. All right, I'm going to let this cool a little bit so I can taste it. All right, this has had a chance to cool. Looks like melted chocolate, and I got to tell you, my kitchen smells of chocolate. It's got a wonderful aroma. The original recipe called for putting this on ribs, and I think I mentioned that what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to cook some chicken. And I'm going to mop the chicken with this. Okay, I really want to know what this is going to taste like. You could use this right away. The only reason why I'm refrigerating it overnight is because tomorrow I'm cooking chicken. I'm going to put this on top, and I'll video that as well. Right now I want to taste this. Let's see what I got. Wow. You can taste the chocolate in that. It's a little bit spicy hot. You could make that a lot hotter if you like a really spicy barbecue sauce by putting more of that chipotle chili powder in it, maybe half a teaspoon even. It's a little bit sweet. You can barely detect the tomatoes in there and the vinegar. You can detect the vinegar. That's a really, really good barbecue sauce. I'm looking forward to using that tomorrow. It's the following day. My chocolate chili barbecue sauce has been in the refrigerator overnight. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to experiment with that on chicken. I bought some chicken thighs last night. Another experiment that I want to do is brining. If you watch enough America's Test Kitchen shows, they brine everything. Chicken, turkey, fish, they even brine their mail. Okay, that last bit isn't exactly true, but I've been wanting to experiment with brining, even though America's Test Kitchen says that chicken thighs are moist enough that they really don't need to be brined, but I'm going to do it anyways. So let's brine some chicken. So what I have here now is I used 1 quart of water and 1/4 cup of salt. That's regular table salt. That follows the formula that America's Test Kitchen uses roughly. If you're on the metric system, for each liter of water you can use 75 grams of salt. I'm using less than they use because I'm only going to be doing 4 chicken thighs. So I'm going to place those in there like so. Put a cover on that, and then I'm going to refrigerate this for up to 1 hour. So there is my chicken. It's been in the refrigerator for 1 hour, brining. I've got a colander in the sink. I'm going to drain this in the sink and then rinse it really well, and then paper towels, pat it dry, pat it dry, pat it dry. It has to be really dry on the surface. I'm going to use my aluminum non-stick surfaced grill because chicken skin will stick to my cast iron griddle. And even though this is a non-stick surface, I'm coating it well with safflower oil. Safflower oil has a high smoke point. You can run this up to 500 degrees and it still won't start to burn. I'm going to cook these between, say, 375 and 400. Cook my chicken. Ready to place my chicken pieces on there. What I'm hoping to get on these, and I don't know that it's absolutely necessary because these are going to be covered with barbecue sauce later on, but I'm hoping to get some nice bar marks. Once you place the chicken on the grill, don't move it. If you do, you'll get your bar marks all mixed up. If you leave it in one place, you'll get nicely pronounced bar marks in the chicken. These have been cooking now for 20 minutes. Here's a trick. Get in there with a chopstick and separate the chicken if it's starting to stick. Now I'm going to flip these over. Look at my bar marks. Isn't that nice? That's what I wanted. Nice bar marks. I turn the heat down. I'm cooking like medium low now. I cooked this side, the skin side, on medium because I wanted it hot to make these bar marks. Now I just want to cook the chicken through. I don't care about bar marks on the other side, so I can cook at a lower heat. Then I'm going to use a digital thermometer. I want to get this up to an internal temperature of about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 77 degrees Celsius. All right, I'm ready to remove these last two pieces. This chicken cooked 20 minutes on each side. In the meantime, I'm heating my broiler up, and I moved a rack to the upper third of the oven. I transferred some of my barbecue sauce to a little bowl because as I mop this chicken, I don't want to get chicken juice into my big container of barbecue sauce. Okay, and I'm going to run this under the broiler. I'm going to watch it closely, and just to start to see that bubbling and starting to crisp up a little bit. Check it out. There it is, fresh from under the broiler. You can see that it's just starting to char just a little bit. I waited until I could even smell it. You can smell it, that it's just starting to cook a little bit, that sauce. I'm going to let this rest for a few minutes, and then I'll be ready to see how this tastes. Okay, let's see what I've got here. Grilled chicken with chocolate chili barbecue sauce. How good is this? Wow. And that chicken is really tender and juicy. That brining must work. Oh, that's good. That barbecue sauce is it's slightly sweet. It's not overpowering. Very little spiciness to it all. As I said earlier, you can ramp up the spiciness if you want. I like things mild. Wow. That is so good. Well, it's too late for lunch and too early for dinner, so I'm going to call this an afternoon snack of grilled chicken with chocolate chili barbecue sauce. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit my website, mobilehomegourmet.com, and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.